Let us try to solve the 8th problem in your practicals. And in this particular problem, we are supposed to create a trigger. Before we create a trigger, we are supposed to create 3 tables. The first table happens to be the library with the following specification. So let me create the library first. What I've done is I've opened the Notepad++ and I have already set the language as SQL. Let me try to create the table. So I'm going to create the table called library with the specification that is given by them. So they expect me to create a accession number, which is a number, and let me take it as 10. You can take anything. And let me take the next one, which is title of the book. So title of the book, I'll take it as varchar 2, and let me take it as 100. Okay. Then I am supposed to create the author. You can again take it as 100. Let me make it as 50. Now you can take it as 100. There is nothing wrong in it. So after that, I'm supposed to create the publication. So this is it. And finally the status. However, they have given some condition for the status. And what is that condition that they have given is they have said that the status can be either A or I. That means to say that it's a single character that we have to take, and we are supposed to check whether the status, let me type it as status, is in either capital A or the small case capital I. So let me do that thing. So this is going to create the table. They have not specified anything about the primary key. After that, they have said that I am supposed to insert 3 records into that. So insert 3 records with status A. In order to save time, I have already created a insert statement for you, and in this insert statement I have taken the books from your syllabus, that is the first book, second book and third book. All the details will be available in your syllabus copy. So first book has the accession number 101, fundamentals of database, and so on and so forth, and the very important status is A. And the second book happens to be the SQL programming, SQL programming. Let me make it as okay. And the accession number is 102, and the last book happens to be this. Okay. So we have created this table. Let me copy this and let me take it to the Oracle. And in the Oracle, I am going to just paste this whole thing there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this whole thing, and I'm going to run this script there. So my table is created. After that, I'm going to insert 3 records. The first record is inserted. I think I have 1 comma that is missing. So let me correct that missing comma from all of them, and then I am going to run this whole thing. So let me run that thing. Okay, and then 1 row created, second row created, and third row created. One after the other, 3 things are getting created. Once this is done, okay, once this status has been done, let's look at the second part that has to be created. And in the second part, we are supposed to create the next table, and that is the issue table. So let's try to create the issue table, and for that I will go down and then try to create one more table called as create table, and I will call it as issue. In that table I will create the roll number. Again, this is number, and you can take any value for that. And next we have the accession number. Now I will take this accession number as the number itself, and because I have taken in the previous case the accession number as 10, I'm going to use that thing. And the next one is the borrow date, which I'll take it as date, and the last one happens to be the return date, and that happens to be the same thing. Okay, so this is what we have done. And if you look at the question there, they have not said anything about that. So I am going to create this one, and then I'm going to copy it here, and then just run this one. Okay. Now, for your satisfaction, that I have created the library table, just to show you that I have done that thing. I am going to go here, and I'm going to use a select star from library. Now this is for your satisfaction. You can also use the describe table, describe library, to just to see whether you have created the table or not. Also you can describe the issue also, to just get the feel that you have done something. Okay, so I'll just copy this thing and just show you that I have already done that thing. It is obviously that I have done it. So let me describe the table for you, and you will notice that the table is already created for you. And if I run this one, you will notice that the three things are created with all the status being A. It is created. Also, if you go and run the issue here, it's going to run in the same way, smooth way as before. And if you run it, you'll get it. There is no record from here. If you issue this command, select star, obviously, but it will be a waste of time. So but still, from, if you say issue, okay, so you notice that this is going to create no different things. Before, there is no record in it, so no data form. Let's go ahead and let's look at what else we are supposed to do it. So let me go and let's look at the question now. In the question, we are supposed to create one more table, and this table we are going to create is create table, and I'm going to create the table as outdated, as what they have specified here. Accession number, author and publication. If you notice that this whole thing is already created by me, so I'm going to copy paste it. So even during the examination, to save your typing time, you can copy paste this whole content, because this is already there in your first table, and the last part is not there. tDate, that is a transaction date, that happens to be a date. So remaining part will be there as usual, and let me copy this and let me paste it over here. And if you look at this table is created, and if you say select to start from this outdated, there won't be any record. And if you want, you can even describe this one for clarity that you have created it. You can describe the outdated, and just see what is there inside it. So with this I think we have created everything. So this is the description, and this is going to be the data inside it. There is nothing inside it. So next, what they have said is, whenever a book is issued, you insert a record into the issue table without having the return date. Now, if you look at this particular table over here, issue table. Now this issue table has a few things. So one is the roll number, other one is the accession number, then last one is the borrow date. So whenever a student comes to the library, they take the book, they will make note of the roll number of the book, which book that book the student has taken, by making note of the accession number, and when this book is borrowed, and after some time the book will be returned. Now when the book is being issued, you don't have the return date. That is why we don't fill this thing. So how do I insert only this part? So I can say insert into issue. So insert into issue. I need these many things. Which are these things? I need up to here. So if you notice, I am not typing here. So the reason is it is much easier if you use the mouse. It is much easier. So during the examination, what happens is if you start typing, you will make a spelling mistake, and that itself will consume a lot of your time. So if you just copy paste it, provided you know what you're doing, so you can do this. Now let's go and let's fill the values. So when you fill the values, I'm going to say roll number is 555 is the roll number. First book has been issued 101, and the date I'm going to use sysdate. This is a constant that is going to insert the current date into the system. So this is what it's going to do. Now let's look at what we are supposed to. If whenever I execute this statement, what is that I'm supposed to do is I am supposed to call a trigger called as trigger issue. So I'm supposed to call a trigger called trigger issue, and it is expected to change the status of the library as I. Now if you look at here, I am issuing the book 101. Let's go to the library, just to tell you. Let's go to the library here, and in the library I am going to run this one, and you will notice that for the book number 101, the status is A. So this is the status. Now when this book is issued, this status has to be changed to I. That is it. Now remember, this is in the library, and where you are inserting your book, you are inserting your book into the, not to the library, you are inserting your book into issue. When you are inserting into issue, you are supposed to change it in the library. Okay, so that is what your accession number or that is what your trigger has to do. So let me go and let me create a trigger. How do I create a trigger? So I'm going to say create or replace trigger, and the name of the trigger is given by them. So trigger issue is the name that is given by them. So trigger issue. Okay, when, so there are two things that you can do it. So you can update the library, you can update this library before insertion, or you can do it after insertion. Option is yours. I will go after insertion. Okay, so I'm going to say after insert. On which table? On this table. Which is the name of this table? The name of this table happens to be issue. So we are creating the trigger for this one. When we are issuing it, we are doing it. So for every row, we are supposed to do something. So I'm going to say begin, and I'm going to end it. And what is that we are supposed to do? We are supposed to just insert it. That is it. We are supposed to change the status. How can I change the status of the library to I to A? So very simple statement. So what is that we are going to do is if at all somebody has asked you to change the, forget the trigger here. If you are asked to change this value as I, what you will do? You will take this accession number and you will replace it. Remember, you are supposed to have taken this as primary key, but it is not mentioned in the question anywhere that accession number is the primary key. They have not mentioned it here. You look at here, they have not mentioned accession number is primary key. That is why I am not also doing it. They have not asked, I am not doing it. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's try to update it. So I'm going to say update library. Okay, set status status. Okay, equal to I. Remember, you are supposed to change the status to I, where the accession number, let me take that thing again. If you look at here, I'm copy pasting it so that I don't make a spelling mistake, where accession number is 101, because I just showed you that I'm going to insert 101 here. So if I'm changing the accession number, it is 101. But in general, I can change any record. How do I get that one? Now that is the problem. Now this is what I am supposed to do it. Now suppose if you run this one, every time a new record is inserted into the issue table, accession number with the 101 will be this record, will change it to I, but that is not the thing. Suppose if I change the number as 102, then correspondingly this has to change. If I change it to 103, if I am issuing 103, this has to change. So that means to say that whichever book I am changing, whichever new book I am inserting, I am supposed to change it. Now we know very well that whenever we use the trigger, there are two variables which are available to me. Just to make you see the content, I'm taking it to the next line. So what I can say is, whichever new book that you are issuing, the accession number of that new book has to be taken. Now it is not always 101 or 102 or 103. Whichever, in general, whichever book you are issuing, if you are issuing 101, let it be 101. If 102, 102, 103, whichever new book you are inserting, you are going to take it. Remember, this new came into picture because I said after insertion. Remember, once you insert it, you get a new record. If you don't insert it, you have old record. Remember, so there are two words that you can think of. One is old, the other one is new. New means after insertion. Old means before insertion. So remember that. Okay. So before insertion, nothing will be there. If you say before insertion, what will be there? Nothing is there, blank. Okay. So always remember, once the things has happened, once something has happened, you get new values. Before something has happened, you can have the old values. Always remember that, so you will it is easier for you. So this is what you are supposed to do it. So when the new book is inserted, I am going to change the status. So let's try and let's go ahead and let's try to create the trigger. Let's see how many errors I'm going to get in this trigger. So I'm going to run this trigger, and I will get an error naturally because I have not put the semicolon there. So let's copy it and let's paste it one more time, and then I'm going to run it, and the trigger is created for me. So trigger is there for me. Now let me insert the record. I'm going to copy paste a few things first. Let me insert the record. Now I'm not going to run this. Let me insert the record first, and then before inserting, I would like to see a few things. First one, I want to see what is there in the library. That part I want to see. What is there in the library? After insertion, what will be there in the library? That also I want to see. Also, I would like to see what is there in the issue. So I have select start from issue. Let me see that also. What will be there in the issue, what will be there in the library, and what is there in the issue. So let's go and first start with the library, run it. Library has everything set to A. Okay, I am trying to insert the 101, accession number 101, that is it. Okay, so let me insert it. If insert is successful, if you look at the issue table, I have inserted one record without the return date because student has taken the book, but they will return it somewhere. Now let's go to the library and let's see what has happened. So in the library, whichever book that was issued has the status as I. So this book was issued and its status is I. So that's what you got it. So you are running the trigger, well and good. Let's go ahead and let's look at the second part. What else you are supposed to do? If you look at the second part, this is first part. So whenever a book is returned, update the return date and update the record of the issue table. Okay, so this is what you are supposed to do. So whenever a book is written, what is that you are supposed to do? When the book is written, what you will do? So when the book is written, if you look at here, when the book is issued, this information will be there. So such a such book was given to such a such a student, and after 7 days that person is going to return that book, and you are supposed to make a note of when that book was returned back to the library. So as simple as that. So that means you are supposed to update the return date. So how do you do that thing? So it is very simple. You are going to say update issue, and you're going to set the return date. So let's look at this one. Return date, okay, is equal to, I'm going to use the current date. So this is the system date. I'm going to use the system date, where if the book is returned is that, where the accession number, somewhere I have written the accession number, okay, where the accession number is 101. Let's take that one, okay. So where accession number is 101. So let's say, okay, in general, if the 101 book is written, that book has to be updated. Now that's not the end of it. What they say is, when the book is issued, you are supposed to call the same trigger. So this is a trick here. You are supposed to call the same trigger and change the status as A. So what we mean by saying that is, suppose if this book is returned, let me go to the library. If this book is returned, then after return, this status has to become A, because it is available. It is not longer issued. So when the book is, when the issue table gets updated, this has to be changed. So you're supposed to write a trigger for that. Unfortunately, the trigger is the same trigger. So we have already created the trigger, if you look at here, and that is going to fire when the insertion occurs. Now I am going to say, even when the updation occurs, even when you are updating this, I will take it to the next line so that you can see it. When it is after insert or update, in both the cases, same trigger is called. Now, if it is insert, you know very well, if it is insert, you are supposed to call this statement. If it is update, you are going to call the same statement, but this one has to be A. So during the insertion, this is I, because the book is getting issued. When the book is returned, that is when you are updating, this has to change to A. The query is same, but somewhere you are making it status as I or status as A. So if the book is not issued, then its status will be available. Once the book is issued, its status becomes issued, that is I. Once the book is returned, its status will again change back to A. Now we have to distinguish between the two actions here. One is during the insertion, this is I. During the updation, this must be A. So I must know when I am inserting, when I am updating. Fortunately, PLSQL provides you with the simple one. So I can always say when inserting, then call this one. Okay. Else if you are updating, then you will call the same query, same thing. You are not making any changes. You are going to change the status as A, that's all. When you are updating, the status is A. When you are inserting, the status will be there. Whichever book you are inserting, then I'm going to call it as end if. So that's simple as that. So end if. We are done with it. Let's take it and let's paste it over here, and let's see whether I'll paste it somewhere down here so that I can get back to that. So let's run it. Let me run from here. So trigger is created for me. Okay, so trigger has been created. Let's try to insert it. Now let's try to update it. Okay. Now where is this update statement? So update this one. So I'm going to update this one 101, and I'm going to do the something for that. So before I update, let me show you. I'm going to run this one. Before I update, let me first show you the issue table. Issue table, the system date, return date is not there because this book is not yet returned. Now what about the library? Library says that this book is issued, it's not available. Now let me run the update statement. So I'm going to update it. So update is successful. Let's go to the issue table, and in the issue table you will notice that the book has been returned. What about the library? In the library you will notice that its status is A. Okay, simple as that. Okay, so this is created for you. Let's go and let's look at the third part. So the third part here is whenever a book is deleted. So if you are deleting by accepting the accession number and status A, so how do you delete the book? So if at all you want to delete a book, okay, let's go here, and you want to delete a book. So you are going to say delete from which one? Your library. Okay. What is the condition? Where you are going to say accession number, I'll take this one, accession number is equal to 101. Let me take that same book 101, and there are two things that they have said. If you read the question carefully, you will understand. One is take the accession number, and next one, the status must be A. This is what they have said. So let's go ahead and let's do that thing. So I'm going to say, and the status is A. Now if you notice that I am not typing most of the time, why do you don't have to type it? You don't have to type it because you can save your time during the examination. So that's simple as that. So when this statement is issued, you know very well the book 101 will be deleted from the library, but that's not the end of it. When this thing happens, what they are saying is you have to insert the whichever book that you are deleting has to be inserted onto the outdated. So when this thing happens, you have to insert this book, insert into which one? Into update. Look at this one, insert into outdated. So many things has to be inserted. Insert into outdated. So insert into outdated. What are the values that you are supposed to insert? You are supposed to insert all the values which are there, which are all the values which will be there. You have the accession number 101. Okay, you have the title, whatever the title is there. You have all these things has to be inserted into that. So this has to be done automatically. When I delete a record from the library, if I delete a record from the library, the outdated table has to this information, whichever I am deleting, this information, this information, this information, this information has to be transferred to the outdated table. So how do I do that? We have to create a trigger for that. So how difficult it is to create a trigger. So we are going to say create or replace trigger. I'm going to say create or replace trigger. And what is the name that they have given to the trigger? So the name that they have given is outdate trigger. So whatever name they have given, I'm just copy pasting it. They said this is the trigger you have to create. We will create it. So when, so remember, now that question will come. Now if you run this trigger after deleting the record, then it is gone. Once you delete, there won't be anything left. So before you delete it, this information has to be transferred. So if after deleting there is nothing is left over. So before you delete, you have to do it. So I'm going to say before delete. So that's very important. Before delete on which table? On library. This is the table on library. Okay, for each table that is getting for each row, let's start with the program, and that is begin and end. So for each, let's start with the begin and end. Now what am I supposed to do it? So what am I supposed to do it? I am supposed to insert a record, that's all. So how do I insert this? This is a story. So to insert, we are supposed to do this much: insert into outdated values. Now which is the values? Remember, before you delete, you will get the old values. After deleting, you have lost everything. So before you delete, you get all the old values. So I am going to say old accession number, old title, old author, old publication. These information has to be stored. So let's go ahead and let's get all of them. The first value will be, look at here how I am writing, old dot accession number. So this is the one. Okay, so this is the one. Next one again, where is it? Okay, old dot title. Okay, old dot title. So I got it. Next one, old dot author. Next one, you get old dot author. Okay, next one, old dot publication. Old dot publication. So you get these many things. Let's get it. Okay, and last one is the date. Remember, date will be, I'm going to use sysdate. Okay, so that will be the last one. So these are the old values. Remember, these are old values. You are taking this value, old values, and then current date. Date is not old. Date is, you are deleting it today, so that's why it is today's date. So this is the trigger that you are supposed to run. So let's go and let's copy this one. Let's try to execute this one. Let me go and let me paste it here. Hope I have not done any mistake. And let me run it. Trigger created, well and good. Let me look at the library first. Run the library, and you have everything. I'm going to check what is there in the outdated. Okay, that's a table. Let me run it. There is nothing is there. Now let me go and delete the first record. So I'm going to delete the first record. Let's go here and let me delete this one. So I run it. One record deleted, and then I look at the library. 101 is gone. Okay, now let's look at the outdated, and you notice that outdated has the old record that got deleted, and it is going to say when that record got deleted. So that's simple as that. Okay, now the question is so this is the last part, because I want the 3 records back. For my explanation, I am going to insert it one more time. Even though I have successfully deleted it, no problem. I want that one record back, so I will run it, and I'm going to say, I'll type it here only, select star from my library. Okay, I want that value. So I'm just reinserting it back because for my explanation I need 3 records now. Okay, so sorry, I have not inserted it. Let me insert it. Okay, I think there is one missing comma is there. Let me correct it everywhere. I think I missed this missing commas from all of them. Okay, so let's try to insert the record, and let's see. I have the 3 records with me, so that's it. Now let's look at what else they expect us to do. Now with that, what they have said is write a PL/SQL program to accept all these things. So let me create a new file here, and I'm going to change my language to PL/SQL. So that's it. And you have two parts here. One is the declare part. I'll create anonymous, and you have the begin part, and you have the end part, which you are all familiar. So what is that you are supposed to do it? So they said to create a program that will accept this part. Okay, so let me take it and let me create variable for this one. So I have a roll number. Now because I want to reduce my typing, I will take it as R number, which is a number which you are all familiar, and accession number I will take it as a number. Okay, very simplest one, R number, a number, you can take it. And unfortunately, when they framed the question, they use the word transaction. Now the word transaction, you can notice here, is a reserved word. I cannot create a variable called transaction. It's a reserved word. In almost every database it is a reserved word. Okay, so don't try to use the transaction. You will end up in much bigger trouble if you try to use it. Instead of that, I'm going to take it as user choice. Okay, and this is if you look at here, so transaction, what they say is, if you have read the question carefully, the transaction can be B, one letter, or R, one letter. So it is one letter character. So I'm going to say it is varchar. You can take char also, there is nothing wrong in it, but most of the time we don't take char. So let me put a semicolon for all of them. So this is what they expect you to do it, and what else you are doing it. So they said read that, accept that value. So let me try to read them. Let me go to the begin, and let me say R number equal to, let me read it. Now remember, if you are using this colorful version of Oracle, then you write colon here. If you are using black and white Oracle, you know very well where do you get this black and white Oracle. You use the ampersand sign here. That's the only difference. If you are using black and white, if you can see something in black and white, then use the ampersand sign. If you are able to see when not here, when you are working with the Oracle, if you see it in the web interface, then it is colon, otherwise it is ampersand. Now I'm going to say enter. Remember, this is a single word. Do not enter roll number. So roll underscore number, it is a single word. You can separate it with this one. Next one, a number. So let's go, and same thing, colon equal to assigning, and we start with enter. Let me write it as enter accession underscore number. Okay, you can just say accession number, you can take anything. Then we have this user choice. Let me take that user choice. User choice colon equal to, okay, again colon. If you are using black and white, then it is starting with ampersand. That's the only difference. Okay, enter. Okay, your choice. Okay, enter your choice. Again you say B, or again look at here, I am not putting spaces here. They are all connected by underscore. Okay, so remember, it is a single word, so you can write anything separated by this. Okay, if you just run this, how is it going to look like? So if you just run this one, this is how it's going to look like. Enter roll number, enter access number, enter that. That's what you're going to get it. So you got all the values. Then what is that you are supposed to do it? Now what they say is this. Okay, check if the book exists. First thing is, before you take any action, check the existence of the accession number. Okay, that's what you're supposed to do. How do you check that the book exists? So what is the statement? You are going to select a record. Select a star from a library where accession number, let me get it, I will take this accession number. If you notice that I am just copy pasting it because I don't want to make a spelling mistake at the end. Accession number is 101. So if I run this one, if I take this and if I run this one, and I'll get one record. If I take 110, you know very well such a record is not there. I get no data found. So either I'll get the record or I won't get the record. So if I run this query, select a star from this one, where the accession number is the what accession number the user is providing. So you know very well when you run this script, let me go from here to here. If you run this script, I'll take this part off. Okay, if you run this script, you will notice that you get this. Whatever accession number user is providing, you take that accession number. Not 101 is not the accession number. So whatever number user has typed, you take this accession number. Now the problem with this is not going to work, because when you run this query, you know very well, when you run that query, you are going to get a record. Okay, so if I take this one, and suppose if the accession number is 101, if that's the case, and if you run it, you're going to get the record. Now you're going to get the record. Now where will you store this record? You cannot simply get the record into the program and do what? So Oracle will not allow you to do that. You have to store that record. So I am going to store it in a record. Now the record must have the same structure like this, with the accession number, title, and so on. So this must be the same thing. You can store it in this type of, it is this type of record, and you can store only in this kind of a data structure. So how do I know that thing that's a data structure? I'm going to create a variable called as book. Okay. Now what's the data type of it? Data type of it is having the structure as that of the row type of this library. So one row, what is there in the one row? One row has the accession number, one row has title, one row has author, one row has this. It's the same structured type I'm using it. So that is what I said. It is a row type of the library. So I got it. Now I'm going to say select a star into book. Now what is it going to do? It's going to fetch the records. It's going to fetch the record and it's going to store it inside that book. What is book? Book is having the same structure as that. So how you will see it here? The same thing is going to be stored in a variable called as book. So that is what I am doing. Select everything into this book. Now two things can happen. Either you have the record or you may not have the record. Okay. When you don't have the record, then this is going to generate an exception. So I'm going to trap that exception. So I'm going to say exception. When is that? When no data found, then I will have to handle something. When no data found, I am supposed to do something. If there is no data found, you notice that there is no data found. When there is no data found, what am I supposed to do it? I am supposed to give an error message. Now data found can be because of many reasons. Now this time the accession number does not exist. So I am going to say that I'll take a variable book found. I'll take a variable called as book found, F-O-U-N-D, which is a boolean. Okay, I'll take it as boolean. Now I assume, before I assume one thing, I assume that book exists in the library. So how do I assume it? I'm going to say book found is equal to true. I assume that. Okay. or I can also say book assumed is false. So what is the meaning? I assume that the book does not exist. I run this query. If there is an exception, when I run this, if there is no book, you see this thing over here, if there is no book, then I get if no record found, then I get exception. Then I get exception. I come here. If there is a book, there is no exception, I then continue from here. I can continue from here. Suppose if I continue from here, then I am going to reset the value as true. So what is that I am doing is I am assuming that the book is not found. I verify whether that book is found. If the book is found, well and good. My assumption was wrong, book is there. If my assumption is right that the book was not found, then I have to take action. So how do I take action? I'm going to say if not book found, FOUND, then if the book is not found, then dbms underscore output put underscore line, and I am going to say accession number does not exist. Okay, so that's it. You got it. Okay, whenever you start with the if, you are supposed to say end if. Okay, that's it. Okay, a book is found, well and good. We'll just look at here. Now let me take this whole thing here and let me just run it just for your sake. I'm going to run it. Okay, see whether it just goes ahead. Roll number is your roll number, 555 is the roll number, accession number is 101. Okay, and I want to borrow the book, well and good. If everything goes fine, your program will exit. However, everything didn't go fine. And what is it? I forgot to put a semicolon. So whenever you do something, you're supposed to put a semicolon here. Okay, so let's try one more time. Okay, here, and I'm running it with the semicolon. And fortunately Oracle remembers what I did, so I just submit it. Nothing happens because book was there, 101 was there. Now if I say book number is 201, you know very well 201 is not there, I have not inserted, then I must get an error, accession number does not exist. So that it's working. If the book is not there, I get this one. If the book is there, then it is your headache. Why it is your headache? Then you have to do something as far as the question. So let's look at if the book exists, then if it is B, then you are supposed to do something. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's look at this one. If okay, your choice is, so let's look at what is your choice. User choice, there are two choices are there. If your choice is B, this is what they have said, then, and as usual I'll write end if so that I don't forget it. Okay, let's look at what they said. Okay, if exist, and if the book exists, that means, remember, if the book is not there, you end up in exception. If you are coming here, that means book is there. You come here and the choice is B. Let's look at that. And now you just check for the status. Now one more question. Now the question is, let's go to this part, and I'm going to run this one, only this part. Okay, only this part. I'm going to run this one, accession number 10. Let me not put the accession number. I will just run this one, all the books. I want all the books. into is not required. I just want to show you all the books, that's all. I'm just running all the books. Okay, I see all the books there. Now remember, these books are available. Why? Because its status is A. Suppose if this book is I, what is the meaning? This book is already issued. If the book somebody else has taken the book, how can they issue that book to you? So you have to check whether the book is available or not. So that is the next part. Whether that book is available to you or whether the book is not available to you or not. So that is the next thing that you are supposed to do it. So let's go ahead and let's check for that. So how can I check it? I can check not the accession number. I can check whether the accession number is 101. That is it, 101. And I have to check status is A. If the status and if the accession number book is there, accession number must be proper, as well as if the status is available, then only such a book can be issued. If it is not, then you cannot issue the book. Suppose if the status is I here, then this book cannot be issued. So that is the thing. Now again, let me check for this one. Now we are supposed to check this one. So we are supposed to check for two things. Now again, as usual, I'm going to take it to the next line so that you can see it properly. So you read it into a book. Now you know very well, whenever you are reading it, as I have told you, if you are going to get a record, you have to store it. Now are you going to use that value? It is a different thing, but storing is required. So Oracle will not accept this fact that you are reading something but nobody is there to take that value. Someone has to store somewhere. You have to store it. Whether you use it or not, it's a secondary matter. So when you run this, two things can happen. As usual, as in the previous case, you may get a record like this, or you may not get the record. In that case, no data found will be an exception, and you need to handle that exception. So as usual, I'm going to create one more variable. Okay, so I'm going to say available. Again, I'm going to take it as Boolean. Okay, again, as usual, I'm going to go and I'm going to say that available is equal to false. That means what is it? I am doubtful whether that book is available or not. Okay, if the book is available, then this statement will run and it will go to the next line. Okay, if it is not available, this book with this condition, accession number and status is not available, you will end up in an exception. So that's simple as that. Now if the statement executes, then you are going to call it as true. So again, first, what is the first one? First, we are doubtful whether that book is there or not. So we have a doubt that book is not there. We check. If the book is there, there is no exception. That means the book is there. You set it back. If it is not there, you go here and you go and do what? So else if, I will continue with this one. Else if, so available. So if book is not available, so remember available was true here initially, so not of false is true. If it is not available, then you will write one more statement. What is that? This book is not available. Let me make this does small case. Okay, book is already issued. So what you'll say, this book is already issued. That book is cannot be given. Okay, that's it. So if this book is already issued, so it cannot be given to you. So simple as that. So if you pass this part, so let me make some. So if you are inside this one, okay, if you are coming here, that means what you are supposed to do. Let's look at that. If the book is there, then you have to issue that book. How do you issue that book? I have already demonstrated that issuing story. What is that issuing story? Issuing story is you have to insert a record into this issue. Where is that? I have to search. Somewhere I have an insert into. So story is there. You see this insert into issue, roll number is borrow, and so on and so forth. So get that, paste it over here. This is what you are supposed to do. You are issuing, if at all you want, you write a comment with this status saying that book is being issued. Okay, if at all, so you want, you write it. If you really don't get it, so here the values are not 555. Values is already given to you. Enter. You are taking the value. Take this one. Put it here. Take the accession number. You are reading it from the machine. Take it here. And borrow date is the date. The same date. Now after that everything is fine. You just give a message to the user saying that book issued. So simple as that. Book issued. Not T-book. Book issued. So that's it. It's done. Okay. Let me, for your kind information, I am going to take this one and I am going to paste it here. Let me run it. Let me take roll number 55, book number 101, let me say, and let me borrow. Everything goes fine. The book is issued. Wow, we got it. So now that's not the end. When the book is issued, I will go to the library and I am going to say select star from library. Okay, I will just run that. Select star from library and you will notice that this book has been issued. It is already issued. Now if I run the other one from the other table, that is issue table, ISSUE issue table, you will notice that student number with the 55 has taken the book but he has not returned the book. He or she has not returned the book. Now the question is, if I run it again, same, remember, let me show you before I run it what is my intention. If you look at here, this book 101 is already issued. It cannot be reissued. So if I run this now and if I type the same value, 101 is already there. Now student number, say 66 student number with the roll number 66 and they also say I want that book. So you just submit it and what you notice is this book is already issued. So that's true because 55 has already taken that book. So now this book is issued. That part is over. Let's look at the second part. What does the second part says? If it is R, so let's go for the second part. Where is the if part? If it is, choice is this. Else if, next story. Let's go with the next story. Else if it is R, so it is capital R, remember it is case sensitive, so be careful. If it is R, then what you are supposed to do it. So if it is R, check the status for I. Remember, what is R? What is the meaning of saying R? R means you are, what is it? R means to say that you are returning the book. So which book can be returned? You will just look at here. If you look at this, where is the select star? Where did it go? Among these books, which book do you think can be returned? Now this book is not issued, so it cannot be returned. This book is not issued, it cannot be returned. Only this book can be returned. So when a student comes and say I want to return a book, it must be issued. Only issued book can be returned. So we first check for the given accession number whether the status is I. If the status is not I, then book was not issued. So simple as that. So again the same story, we are supposed to check for this one. What is that we are supposed to check? We are supposed to check for the accession number and so on so forth. We are supposed to check this part. As usual, we are supposed to check this one, but this time I am checking for I, not for A. What is the reason? I am returning the book. So when I am returning the book, I am supposed to check whether the status is I. I means it is already issued. Only issued book can be returned. Available book cannot be returned because it's already there in your library. How can you return a book which is already there? So I'm going to do it. Now there are two things, either you get it or you don't get it. So when you run this query, let me take this same query and let me run this query. Let me take this one. When I run this query, accession number 101, and if I run this query, let me run this query. I think I need to make it proper. Otherwise, Oracle does not like me to put breaks here and there. Okay, missing into, that is into is not there for us because we are not programming. We want the output to be shown here, not into variable. So this either book is there or book is there. Now look at this one. This book 102, you know very well, if you look at this one, book 102 is not issued. If you look at this one, book number 102 is not issued. Okay, now how can you return that 101 book? Now if you run this one, you find no data found. Again, two things. Okay, so let's go here, and available is the variable. You can check for something else also. So if there is a exception, you can create one more variable, but I am not going to create one more variable because I have gone through the question. That is why I am confident about it. There is nothing else you are going to check. Now what is it is, if the user choice is R, there is only one exception that can happen, and that is this book is not issued. Okay, that exception can come. So there is one, if you want you can create a variable. Let me create a variable. Okay, and I am not going to create this variable because there is a table called as issue. Some of you will get confused as to what is this issue and what is this issued. Issued is a variable, so kindly note this is the table name. ISSUE is a thing, issued is a thing, but I'm going to just create it, okay, so that it is easier. Just otherwise you can just take the other way around. There's nothing wrong in it. So as usual, I'm going to say not boolean. I'm going to say issued. Remember, this is not the table name. Very, very careful. This is a variable name. So I assume that is issued is false. Okay, that means it is, this book was not issued. Now, after that, if everything goes fine, my assumption can be wrong. If I reach here, that means the issued is true. So I assume here, whatever that I'm doing is, I assume that book was not issued. If the book is issued, well and good, I have no problem. But if the book is not issued, then you will need to take care of the exception. And what is the exception? So else if, okay, not issued. So ISSUED issued, then you show as output. That's all. This is nothing that you can do, and you just say that okay, that book is not issued. This book was not issued. Was not issued. Okay, that's well and good. Okay, so if there is a exception, this book was not issued. And if there is an exception, this book is not written. Otherwise, you are supposed to, where is the question? You are supposed to update the issue. Okay, that's it. How do you update it? You know very well. When the book is returned, what you get, look at the thing over here. I'm going to just run this one. When the book is returned, what you are going to do? When the book is returned, you have two things. Who has taken, you know very well. Which book is taken, you know very well. You are supposed to update the date as the current date. That is what they have said. Update the issue date. Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's do it. And we have already done it. So there's nothing which you can do it. So update issue set equal to this. We've already done this one. Okay, so you are updating if at all. So some of you want to write a remark statement for them. Let's say updating, or what is that? You are returning books. A book. Okay. Update issue. What is this one? This is not 101. Remember, this is not 101. By the way, you've used 101 here. Instead of 101, we are supposed to use the variable accession number. We are supposed to use the variable accession number 101. So don't use for here as well as here. Don't use don't hard code the values. They are the variables that we are supposed to use it. Also, I'm going to say, and very important thing, there is one other field which is available, and which is the other field that is available is the roll number. Remember, whatever their logic they have used, it is going to fail somewhere. I will leave it to you when it is going to fail. I'll take the roll number also and then use it. Now, if you think hard, you will notice that this thing is going to fail whenever it runs. Okay. By the way, I don't know what was the field name. So whenever you are in confusion about the field name, just copy the field name and just paste it over here. This will avoid your 10 minutes in your examination. Just one copy paste will save your 10 minutes. So whenever you want to use a variable name, copy them and paste it. It is going to save your time, because you are going to make a spelling mistake and you are going to struggle like anything to come out of it during the examination. So variable name, the field name, all you copy it, so that is allowed in the examination. Then you say book is returned, RETURNED. Okay, that is, I think in English they write it like that. Okay, so that's it. This is what you are supposed to do it. Control A, Control C. And before I run it, you know very well this was blank here, and if I run it, it should work. If there is no, provided there is no mistake. So 66 want to return a book. Okay. Now it is not 66, I think it is 55. That is why I told you this is going to end up in trouble where that thing will come. Now this book has to be returned. Okay, this is an idle case. It works only in idle case. The program will fail, but can you update it? If you update it, it's going to take 3 hours for you to just write this program in the examination, and you are left with only half an hour to try this. So I am not handling all these sort of exceptions. Let's run it, submit it and run it. One row got updated, but did I put this thing there? It should have showed me that, no? It should have shown me this thing. It didn't show me this previous output book return. Okay. How did that happen? Okay, let me try that. Okay, let me try this one. And what is that I'm supposed to try? I'm supposed to try select star from library. This one I'm supposed to try select star from library. Okay, that's the spelling. And select star from issue. These two I'm supposed to try. Let me try this. Library, that is what is the spelling. Library is the spelling. So it is not yet done. Issued, it is not yet done. from select where is the star. It is not done. Okay, but it updated something. I don't know what it updated. Which is the record it got updated then? What is it updated then? It said it updated something. I really don't know which one it updated. Come on, it has updated. What it has updated? Very strange. Yeah, I'm not sure about it. Let's try. Let me go here and let me first check who has issued that. 55 and 101. Okay, that's it. Let's go and let me try to return that. 55 and 101. Book is I. At the time, am I verifying for I? Just one second thought. One is R. Second one is also R. Oh my goodness. Okay. So sorry about this. We are taking two values here. One is B or one is I. Not return means I took R. Okay. And that reminded me about something else. Now this happened. I typed R and I didn't get anything. Okay. So what to do in that case? In that case, I am going to say else. I am going to say something else. Else, I am going to say you don't know how to type the choice. So I am going to say wrong choice. Please enter which one? Enter R or I. Okay. So even I did that mistake. Is it not? So even after writing the program, if I can make that mistake, then a stranger definitely will make that mistake. So let's run it first. Let's run it, and I will take it as I. And what is that? I am supposed to get book returned. Oh yes, book returned. Oh, I is the choice. Yeah, correct. Anyhow, I is the choice. So book is returned. Let's look at that. Book is returned. Book is returned. The status is I. Book is returned. The status is I. Now I am going to try to return the book one more time. One more time I try to return the same book. Book is already returned. So I am going to submit and I will get that book is not issued. The book issued, returned back. It is not issued again. So last but not the least, what is that? Is I will type a wrong choice. So where is the end? If okay, end. Okay, up to here. I will run it, and whatever you write, I will write the choice as X is my choice. So what you must say? You say wrong choice. Please enter I or R. Okay, that's what you are supposed to do it. Remember, you are supposed to show the output for this one also. Which one? This one also. You are supposed to show the output for this also. Okay, that's all you need to do. I have taken care of all of the actions. Thank you for your interest, and we will meet again.